Next on the top 10 is making your embellishments interactive. All of the embellishments that you see here on my desk are from the Sweet Romance collection. I've done a little bit of prepping just to save time. This may be a bit of a long video, guys, so prepare. So if you're using digital collections, when you print out your embellishments, you have a choice, right? You can print them out just one time, or as we discussed in the previous one, you can print them out, mirror image, or flip, right? You print them out twice and you can have two images so that you can back it. And because of that, either single-sided or with a flip or mirror image, you have more options, okay? So I'm showing you a few here single-sided, and then I'm going to show you a few with the mirror image printing. So two embellishments of the same kind. So here, to create a interactive embellishment with this super fabulous embellishment here, you can trace around a piece of cardstock, cut out the image or the shape, and you can glue on three sides, either here or here, to have a side loading or a top loading embellishment, okay? Or if you want this full size, if you really want to get a larger item in your pocket, then what you want to do is score. So you would measure the piece, right? Measure, and then you would cut so that you can create 1/2 inch flaps on three sides. And that's what I did here. So you can barely see my score lines, but I promise you they're there. I'll show you when I fold. So I'm going to miter, okay, and I'm going to fold so that I can stick my embellishment down onto this pocket here, or onto this piece of cardstock, and create a pocket. Okay, and that way I have a really nice size opening on the side to create a pocket, right? Or yeah, a pocket, a pocket. All right, so I'm going to ink these, and I probably could have saved even more time had I inked, right? But what the heck? I will be quick. So when I do things like this, I like to ink around a little bit extra inking, and I'll explain. Okay, especially around the inside, because when you stick it onto the back layer, you may see some of the white, right? And you don't want to do that. If you don't feel like cutting it, then just go ahead and ink. Just a little extra care on the inking. That way you don't have to worry about that stuff. Okay. So some really quick inking right here. And now we're going to glue this, and you have a super duper duper fun embellishment here, guys, which again, it's interactive and just perfect. This can be loose in your project, or you can glue it down. Okay, if you want it loose, I'm going to taper here. Forgot to do that. If you want it loose, then you have to either mat the back. You don't have to. You can use it for a photo if you want to. Or you can mat the back, or you can stamp on the back. Either way. Okay? So let's let that dry before we get in there. And I notice that I have just a little bit of a white edge here that I am going to cut off because I do not need it. And I didn't even notice while I was inking, but that is okay because I notice now. So now, let's make sure that's nice and dry. We have a super fun interactive embellishment here, okay? Which is just perfect. You can add anything to this pocket and boom, fabulous. So that's one way to do it. Then you can get even crazier, guys. So for this one, I traced around my image. I made little tick marks at the very top, right there and right there. so that I can score there, that I can make a flap. Okay, and I will explain in just a minute. So you have to think about it. All right, you have to put some thought into it. It's not difficult. Okay, and I will explain. This one can have flaps all the way around if you want to, but I don't want to make it so difficult. All right, so again, you can just trace around like this and then glue around. But to make it even more fun, let's take it to another level. So I've traced around and added a 1/2 inch for a flap. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is cut this flap out right here. I'm going to cut the heart out. Nice and neat. I have another video showing various examples of exactly what I'm doing here with different embellishments. I'm going to make sure that it's at the very end of this video, okay, so that you guys can see it, because there's some really great examples there as well. All right, so let's ink this up. Very important that you ink it up, all of the layers, so that, because once you glue things down, you're done. You can't really ink it. So I'm going to ink in here. You can also stamp in here if you want to, just to give, instead of just having a white background, you can have a different background, right? A stamp background. You can mat in here if you want to before you start gluing things down. It's entirely up to you. I'm also going to ink right here. And I'm also going to taper these flaps here. And I'm going to ink this. All right. So I will go back in and probably give this a little bit more ink, but just for the purposes of this video, so that it's not so long, I will be quick about it. So now we're going to glue this on 3 sides, like so. Okay. And you can put flaps on the side of this if you want to, but you really have to think about when you're doing that, because this here is really thin right here on the top. So when you can do flaps, do them. If you can't, just make it work, guys, like this. Put the glue on 3 sides and you still get a fantastic little piece. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and now I'm going to glue this right on top like so. And then you have an opening. How cute is that? So the key is to glue it right back in place. Whoopsie, don't go nowhere. So I'm going to start here so that I'm right in place, and then I'll stick it to my flap. So here, interactive, instant interaction, guys, here with this fabulous little embellishment. All right, and let that dry before you go in there doing stuff. All right, so you can mat, of course, on the inside. You can stamp, all sorts of things. Or you do nothing, and whatever you put in there will be a super cute item. I'm just going to shove this in there so you can see. Okay, obviously this will not close because it's got a tab. But as you can see, how fun is that? Oh my gosh, adorable. So now you have this interactive element right here. Very, very cute. So that's another idea for you guys. Where is my, here it is. My tip. And of course you add all sorts of finishing touches on this. All right. And that is the next one. Okay, I'm going to do an easy one now. All right, so this one, well, I'm going to do a super easy one. This one, so we have two embellishments here, right? So these would make adorable. These were printed mirror image or the flip, right? You can either make these pockets. Well, I'm going to make one a pocket. This one I'm going to make a belly band. So really easy. You just can put glue on two sides. Like so. Let that dry before you go nuts doing inserting anything in there. So I'm going to let this dry. All right, but let's create what's going to go in here. I'm thinking I can get something in here that's 2¼ inches. And I'm going to do 6 inches. Why not? So, of course, I love the white paper. So I'm going to get a piece of cardstock, white cardstock, and I'm going to cut that at 6 inches. And I think I said 2¼ inches. I'm going to score 2¼ inches, 4½. Just going to do 3. Can't make it too thick. And then I'm going to cut again. Right there. And I'm going to do a little accordion. I'm going to round my corners. And how fun would this be for photos, journaling, whatever you want it to be, right? So then you would put this inside of that belly band. Of course, you would ink your heart up. And there is another interactive element for your project. Project number 3. This one, so this one would be an easy peasy pocket to do. All right, this one will also make a great belly band. But if you, let's say you want to make a pocket, right? Why not? Let's do a pocket. So I would do a little bit of glue here and around the bottom like that. And I'm going to wipe off the excess because I don't want it to ooze too much. Because if it oozes too much, what happens? You lose the inside space. All right, so this is again the embellishment printed twice, mirror image and cut. And then you can put a little itty bitty photo mat in there. So let's see, I would do 2 inches, probably by 2. How cute is that? So let me get a piece of black cardstock. You can do a tag, you can do whatever you want, guys. Or a photo mat. I'm going to do a simple photo mat. So a 2 by 2. Get over there before I lose you. And then I'm going to do a white piece. Just 1/4 inch smaller than that. So that I can have a cute little photo mat. And of course, I have to ink it. I can't help myself. A little bit of ink. And I think I can go a little bit larger than that. But for now, this is what we're doing. Okay. And you can put a photo on both sides. You can put 2 of these in there. Look at how cute is that, guys. So cute. I could even want a little bit larger, but that's still nonetheless adorable. So interactive embellishments, guys. This one's going to be super duper cute. All right, so again, some more interactive embellishments. All right, so I am going to put these back to back, and I'm going to chop this little envelope off. I'm chopping it, guys. Following the design of the cupcake. Okay, now I'm going to figure out what size I can put in here. And nice and comfy, I can get I'm going to do 1.5. Okay. And you may think that that's not good, but I promise you it is. Especially with all of the apps that you can use to get to print photos in all sorts of different sizes, you can absolutely do that. Hold on, I need a longer piece. I'm gonna go with 1 5/8 of an inch. I feel like 1.5 is not good enough. Okay, so then I'm gonna score at 2 1/4. All right, seems like 2 1/4 is a very popular. Then 2 1/4 again, and then a third time 2 1/4. And see how I left myself a tail there? That tail, you need a bit of a tail so that you can do this. All right, so at the top of the envelope, you're going to cut. Okay, and then you're going to take a pencil and you don't even need a pencil, guys. Just glue the envelope, the top of that envelope, perfectly to the very top of the mat, right? See that? And then the back, do the same thing. Very top. Make sure I'm gonna cut it out because I'm afraid I'm not gonna get it perfectly lined up. So now you're gonna cut right down to the envelope, following the the motif of the envelope. And now you're going to glue the back side. And this is going to be super stinking cute. There we go. Done. And I may have to take one off. We'll see how fat it is. Okay. And you're going to have to round the corners right here because you want it to be exactly the same. All right. So, oh, that's too much. I'm doing the 1/4 inch. You don't want any of the white sticking out. Perfect. Can't help myself. Have the ink. So how cute is this? So now for this piece right here, now you're just going to glue it. Very little glue. Enough so that it sticks, but not too much oozing to the inside. If it oozes too much to the inside, you're going to lose that inside space, and then your photo mats are not going to fit. All right. So if you're wondering where all these embellishments are going to go, they're not going into the Windows on the World album. The Windows on the World album is part of my CMC, which is called Collection of the Month Club, which stands for Collection of the Month Club. And there's usually 4 to 5 projects in the Collection of the Month Club, meaning we take one paper collection and I make various projects showing off the collection in all sorts of different ways. So these embellishments will go into another project, whether it be the folio, the insert, a card, whatever I make for that month. So if you're interested in seeing all of the projects that I'm going to make using this paper collection, Sweet Romance, then you want to pick up the Collection of the Month Club Sweet Romance, which is what I'm using right now. Okay? All right, so now, I think I cut this way. We'll see. I think it's dry enough. I can't remember which way I cut, but we'll figure it out. This way. All right, so it goes in this way. Hopefully I didn't glue too much in there. Let's see. Oh, I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Ah! No, I did not. Perfect. So you'll have to kind of play with it initially for that first one. All right, but seriously, is this not the freaking cutest thing you've ever seen? Oh my gosh. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit more, but when you pull it out, then you get this. I think I'm going to take one off. I think it's too chubby, guys. Let's see. I think it may be too chubby. I think 3 is more than enough. You don't want to make it too chubby. Okay, so then that goes like this. Yeah, this is a much better fit. The other one was just too much. Oh my gosh, the cutest freaking little embellishment. Pull that out, done. All right, that's number what? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do number 6. They get better, guys. All right, so I have this little jar with jelly beans or red candies in it. This is one of the embellishments. I did mirror image. So I measured the space, right, so that I can cut various notebook sheets to size. So I did 3. All right, you're going to cut these at 2.5 by 7, and then you're going to fold them in half. And then what I did is, again, I followed the design of the jar. See which way I did. This way. Right? See that? And we're going to make a little notebook. But in order to get the jar the way I want it, I'm going to hinge it. So I measured the lid of the jar, the width, and cut a little hinge to size. Okay. And I'm going to hinge my jar. Okay, so there we go. So there's my little hinge. And I'm going to do that. Perfect. Right on the edge. And then this side. On the other side. Perfect. I'll stick that down. A little glue on my hinge. And stick this down. You want to make sure your pieces are lined up. And now I'm going to sew this, all right, right down the middle. And you can sew it by hand if you'd like. It is entirely up to you. But I'm going to use my sewing machine because it's easier. And I'm sewing off camera because there's no point in me putting my sewing machine on my desk, because all you're going to see is the top of my sewing machine. You still will not see any sewing. So I just made a simple, you probably can't see it because it's all white, stitch down there. And now I've got my little notebook. And now I'm just going to glue it in here, making sure that my sides line up. And of course you can ink everything up. And that looks great. So I'm simply going to glue the last page down. I may have to chop off a little bit more, but that's okay. I can do it afterwards. All right, so just my last page down. Very light on the glue here because this is super thin paper. Get it right there in the middle. There we go. And burnishing. So how cute is that? I mean, seriously, guys, how cute? This doesn't get any cuter than that. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of chopping right here. I may have to use my knife. Nope, got it. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? So now we have a little notebook. All right, that you can write on. And of course, you can cover the back, stamp it, ink it, all that good stuff. All right, so now you have a little jar notebook. So super cute. I love this one. I don't know, they're like all my favorites. All right, so there's another interactive embellishment. Here, these are all going to be pretty much the same. Okay, so this one, I am backing it, right? So I took this piece, I placed it on it. These are all done initially the same way. Place it on my cardstock, took a pencil, trace around, cut it out. All right, and I'm left with the backing. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to get this one is a little bit of cutting. All right, so you want to start slightly away, about not slightly, about a quarter of an inch away from the edge. Same here and same here. Don't go all the way to the end, and just cut out this here. So this way, doing it this way, you're going to make like a stacked envelope. And you can do this with various, oh, I did the smaller one, huh? So see that? And you can cut out that middle piece if you want to. Okay, so now this is going to get glued directly on top of this. Okay, just do not glue this centered part down. Okay, if you want to just glue the bottoms and then put something else in it, you can. But I'm going to glue all four sides, and I'm going to glue this down, this down. I mean, there's got to be a point where you stop and say, okay, done with the interaction, right? So I'm gluing all that down, making sure this doesn't glue down. You can even put a piece of acetate behind here if you don't want it, you know, if you think it's going to be too delicate. All right, this one's pretty delicate, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm not going to put anything crazy in there, right? I'm going to be careful with what I'm putting in there. But you get the idea. You can stick something right through here, and there's your interactive element, okay? So how super cute is that? You can even do a little fold over card, but how adorable is that? All right, so there is number whatever that is. So this one's going to be the same thing, and I'm going to do another little cut here. Or you can leave that alone. So I've done the same thing. So I would leave that alone. That one's really thin. So what I would do is I'm going to come right in here, so about a quarter of an inch away from the edge. Also here. See that? And then you can stick something through here. So you would glue this little portion down here. Careful not to glue the opening shut. All right, and of course you would ink everything. And just to make sure that you don't glue this shut, just put your knife through there. And then you have a little stack. You know, you can put something through there, which becomes part of the stack, which is Adorable! This one is a really good bow to cut through. Okay. Not only can you put a tag on here, right? But you can cut through this bow and create a fun opening to insert something. Let's see. Perfect. So cutting around the bow. Yeah, I'm going to cut here. Just remember, leave at least 1/4 of an inch away from the edge so you have somewhere to glue. That's what's important here, guys. See that? There's about 1/4 of an inch there, 1/4 of an inch down there, 1/4 of an inch here, 1/4 of an inch here. This one's going to be super fun. So just a great way to make these embellishments even cuter. Seriously. Too stinking cute. Doing it this way instead of just leaving it there and just inserting it, you know, into a pocket. So you want it to be more than just a pocket stuffer, right? Where did I cut here? What am I missing here? Where do I want to cut? Yeah, I'm going to cut here. So you just have to make a few choices and then you're good to go. So now let me see where I'm going to put my piece. So, yep, through there. So now you just want to test it before you glue anything down. I think I want to just go. That may be just a little too big, which is not cool actually. Well, let me just fold this. It'll just make my life easier for now instead of having to trim things down. So this one, you see, not all of my ideas work out, huh? All right, I think I probably should have just cut the bow. Let me see. It's okay because I can glue everything down into place. Yeah, I think I could just cut my bow. That way I can go this way, right under the bow. Okay. Yeah, right under the bow. Because otherwise it'll be a really teeny tiny piece and that will kind of suck. So I'm just going to remove the bow if that makes sense. All right, there we go. So this is what's going to show right here. All right, see that? So the rest will be glued down. How cute is that? All right, so let me figure this out. So I'm going to glue everything but the horizontal portion of the bow. So just careful, careful, careful with the glue because the oozing will screw up your cut, okay? So you can always add more glue, right? You can't really take it away once you glue it down because you're going to tear it up and jack it all up. Uh-oh, what did I do here? Something shifted. Okay, here we go. So I like to use my knife to get under there because my bone folder is quite thick, so I won't be able to really, let's see. actually worked out just fine with my bone folder. So you just got to get all the bits glued down. So I didn't put any glue right here. Let me get some now on there. Now that I know what I'm doing. So just be gentle until you get everything glued down. And now, let me ink this up so you can actually see it in there. Look at this, how absolutely adorable is this? And you can fit something really nice size in here. So there it is. Absolutely adorable. Of course, ink the back. You can do pattern paper. You can actually glue this down on a page. And how cute is that? All right, guys, I think that's all the ones I have for you. So let's take a quick look at these. This one wasn't too bad. 30 minutes. So we have this one that opens up from the side. We have this one. You can stick something in there, and you'll see these completely finished when they go into the actual project. Then we have this one. Then we have our little jar notebook. Then we have our little pocket, right? Cute. Then we have, oh, this one, adorable, our cupcake. We have this one. All right, for another layer. Then this one, element coming out the side. And then this one right here. All right, so really, really cute. I hope you love these. So make your embellishments interactive. Just look at them and like, what can I chop up? What can I layer up? What can I do to make these super duper fun and interactive? So from a flat image to something that's three-dimensional. All right, so interaction, 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 guys. So much fun. I hope you love this video. Don't forget, there's a sale. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, guys, leave me a comment if you love what you see on this channel. Please, please, please subscribe. Thank you so, so much.